Hello, guys. Welcome to TCR. Sid here. It is a beautiful Southern California sunny 80-something degree day. It's gorgeous out today. I wish I could have been outside all day. Sadly, I was inside all day, but I'm not bitter. Not even a little bit. Hi, Robin Vibes and DIYs. Yes, you were first today. Doug the guitarist. Hello, hello. Sai from Kentucky. There we go. Oh man, it's going. Remodeling, man. Woo. We're doing like the next. Hey, MC Homestead, what's going on? Our channel friends and members, what's going on? I am counting down the days. So I got so jealous watching everybody at the Okie Homestead Expo, but I was like, oh man, I get to see everybody in just like a month. I get to see everybody, literally a month. Like, yeah, because I go out a couple days early. I'll go out on the 27th. So I'm gonna go see Chrissy, and I'm gonna see the Corgles while I'm there too. Even though they're not doing their channel anymore, I'm still gonna go bug them because they're my friends. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go poke around and see everything. Go check out her feed store. And I was looking at some of the stuff she has there, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to leave some room in my suitcase. She's got some cool stuff there. So, hey, the other Doug from Pole Barn Productions. What's going on? What's going on? Hi, Ted. Hello, hello. Let's see here. What's up, everybody? Hello, Leo Medina from El Paso. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, so I don't like living in chaos. I'll be the first one to admit. And it was funny because for a few minutes this morning, I was watching Jason and Danielle on Coffee with the Crockers talking about if she was able to handle it off grid, and they were talking about, you know, the logistics of you know, their latrine situation and stuff right now. And I was laughing. I was like, that is not me. Like, there's certain things like I have no problem doing that, you know, other girl, what are we working at? There's nothing happening right now. Hey. See, this always happens. It's like, oh, they know I'm going live. It's time to bark at something. A leaf fell. So, hey, settle. Hey, settle. I don't know if that's Daddy. I don't know. Hey, lay down. Lundy. Sorry, guys. She's getting cray-cray. So, hey, settle. Thank you. You're done. It must be Dad because she's pacing. It's Daddy because she's pacing. It's got to be. So I totally lost track where I was because the dog started barking. I totally forgot what I was talking about. I was like mid-sentence too. So frustrating. So frustrating. Totally. If you can remember what I was just talking about, this is what happens. I get like hamster brain and then I can't think, you know, and then I'm like, wait, I was just talking about something. I was on a track of something, and then it goes right out the window. It's like when your kid interrupts you or your husband interrupts you, and then you're like, why am I in this room? I don't remember what I was doing. That's me every day. So yeah. But yeah, totally excited to go out. I'm glad you guys, it sounds like you guys had so much fun at the expo. Totally looking forward to shooting fest. Oh, I was talking, see, that got me right back around to Jason and Danielle. See, it took me a minute, but I got there. So they were talking about the, you know, the whole off-grid living thing. And I'm like, I have no desire, zero desire to live off-grid for myself. Zero desire. I enjoy high-speed internet, especially with YouTube and stuff. It just makes life easier. I enjoy being able to stream movies on my Roku. You know, I like to be able to flip a switch and have a light come on. I have, you know, like there's things like that that I'm like, I like to be able to plug in my blow dryer, you know. So I am just not an off-grid type of girl. However, and Mike can attest to this. When we were first dating, the first time we ever went to Lundy Lake, which is why we named our dog Lundy, because that was like our jam for a long time. We would go there for a vacation every year. I asked him, I was like, I don't camp. Like, now, mind you, I had not really had much of a foray into the country life at the time. Like I had a few chickens and we had a little pond and I had raised a pig and I had a little bit of foray into it, but not like full scope, right? And so I was like, I'm gonna need four walls and a bed, yo, and like running water. Like I'm gonna need that. Um, but I had no problem all day going outside and baiting my own hooks and fishing and cleaning what I catch and raising my own chickens and processing them from start to finish and canning our own stuff and grinding my own sausage. And like, I have no problem with all of that stuff. I would just like to have electricity while I do it and be like on the grid. I have no desire to be off the grid, I guess is my point. So I commend them. I do for like seriously, like for doing that. And if and that makes them happy, I am 100% behind it. But I could never do it. It's just not my jam. It's just not my jam. And I think at this point in my life too, I'm like, I'm too old to like, I don't have that desire to be like, oh, let's just live without electricity and modern conveniences. And I don't know. Am I crazy? But I'm not all about that'll change after the EMP. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm perfectly capable of functioning without those things. I know that. Where we used to live, our old house, there was a power pole that was right on the corner of this almost highway. It was like you could go 50 down this like 2-lane road, right? And it ran right by our house. And this power post, there was two bars, like within a 2-mile distance on this road, right? And so to get on the freeway, they were for the people that were going the other direction on the freeway, they would speed down that road drunk. And I kid you not, once a month somebody would hit that power pole and our power would go out. Sometimes it would go out for a couple days, sometimes it would be several hours. Um, it was just a constant. I can't even count the amount of times that the power went out when we lived there. Just it was just all the time, all the time, all the time. So it was almost like living off grid sometimes, living there. Because it was so like you never knew. It was like living in one of those countries where sometimes you have lights and sometimes you don't because the power grid can't handle it. That was it. Um, but I like the modern conveniences. I do, but I do enjoy being out in nature and being outside. And when I come inside, I want all those comforts. And maybe that's weird. I don't know. And I like having all the skills that I've learned over the last several years to be able to be more self sufficient and sustainable. But I'm like, I don't necessarily want to live like I'm camping every day. You know, call me crazy. That's just me. You know, I guess maybe I'm a city country girl. I just there's certain I think I'm more of like a I always kind of consider myself like what was it my friend said one day? Now I can't think of it. It just went out of my head. But like a girly girl, like tomboy. Like that's me. Like I like all things that are frilly and girly and pretty and but I'm totally fine getting hands on and doing stuff and whatever. Which I always laugh at because like I've told you guys a story before of like one of my friends that was like a rodeo queen and all this, and she called me one day and she's like, I don't know how to. I got this rooster and I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, put it in your crock pot. Like I don't know how to do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You were Miss Lakeside how many years in a row? Come on, you can't. You're telling me you can't call a rooster? You're kidding me, right? I'm like, they should retroactively take your sash and your crown right now. I'm like, but that's just, I don't know. I'm a weird mix, I guess, of stuff. So, oh, thank you, Sai. Sai says that me and my better half are good for the tube. Yes, we try. We try to be good for the tube. Hello, Vineyard Farmhouse. Sorry, I got a little distracted, jibber jabbing. Trying to keep up on comments here. You can easily function without the modern day stuff, but I don't want to until I have to. Exactly, Mike. That's exactly how I feel. Like I could do it, but when I don't have to, I don't want to. That's, you know. Oh, wow. You're in Poland on a mission for the military. My goodness, Jesse. Well, thank you for your service. Stay safe. There's all kinds of crazy things going on out there. See, Terry's with me. You enjoy the nice bathroom without the composting toilet. Yeah, see, I like to be able to flush it and make it go away. I'm all about it. I am all about it. Oh, aloha from Hawaii. Thank you, Kramer. He says he loves our content. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, so this week was a big week, and the next couple videos that are coming out are a lot about like kind of what we're doing around here right now. There's a lot of construction, there's a lot of destruction, there's been a lot of fixing, replacing, and cleaning out of things. Just kind of really, and I did this a little bit at the beginning of 2020. I've talked about this before too, where the beginning of the vid where everybody was kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And everybody just stayed at home and like there was nothing open. Everybody was, I don't want to say everybody was panicking, but there wasn't, everybody was just like, okay, 2 weeks to flatten, let's hang out, you know? So those first, which ended up being, you know, a lot longer than that, but you know, that first month of it where you just kind of were in limbo. I did a lot around the property and I did like 5 videos a week, every week for a while. And I mean, I was staining fences and I was doing landscaping, which for those of you that watch the channel, you know, I don't do the gardening. I don't do plants really. It's not my thing. I don't enjoy cultivating the plants. I don't. That's Mike's area of expertise. It's his jam. He loves it. He gets in the zone. If you talk to him about plants, he will not stop talking to you about the plants. I'm the same way about my animals. Once you get me going, I don't stop talking about them. So I broke my own rule and I was out there every day doing landscaping stuff. Nothing crazy because I'm not like talented with the landscaping, but I was like, I decided I was going to like put these borders, these like rock borders around the whole front area. And I did loose rocks out back by the pool, and I got gravel delivered, and I spread gravel over on the other side of the pool, and I hand pulled all the weeds on the entire property because I had nothing else to do, and I could do that while I worked on my tan. And so like I did all this stuff like that, and I had everything looking really, really good. Oh, and I power washed like every building, you know. But now I'm like, you know, it's been a couple years. It's time to like do a major cleanup again. I did a bunch of spring cleaning then too. It's like time to do it again. Hey, Sam, I am. $20 super chat. What is going on? My YouTube channel is finally operational. Out and about with Sam, I am. Oh my goodness, you'll have to post the link. Post the link, Sam, so we can go check it out. My goodness, that's exciting. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's a big first step. Get it going and get it out there. I know they've made it so well. I feel like they've made it more complicated lately for new YouTubers to start. Like the threshold has been raised from even just when we started a couple years ago. So it's weird that they kind of do that, but it's, you know, you gotta start somewhere, right? You know. Come to Hawaii, you're guaranteed to get a beautiful tan without working. Well, I have that here, but it was like, you know, you can only just lay there lifeless in front of the pool for so long before you eventually are like, I should do something productive, you know. So I like to do stuff. I like to be active. I'm an active person, but I am also when I hit my threshold of I have put in X amount of hours today, now I just want to Netflix and chill, you know? So I am that person. I am go, 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 and then stop, you know? And I think sometimes too, that's why like on the weekend, sometimes Mike and I don't ever necessarily sync up because he might sleep in a little bit longer and kind of like he'll putz around and stare at his plants and have like, I call it his like gardening moment where he just literally will drink his coffee and like walk around to every single plant that he has and like stare at it, touch it, whisper to it. And sometimes on the weekends, this process can go on for like 2.5 hours. Like sometimes he even in between will make a new pot of coffee. Okay. Like this is like his jam. Like when I'm telling you this man loves plants, I'm not exaggerating. Okay. So in that time frame, I've already been up, I've worked out, I may have already done like the dishes, like cleaning up the kitchen from dinner the night before, because I usually do it in the morning instead of at night, just because usually I run out of steam by that time. I've fed the animals, I've cleaned out pens, I've gone for my run, I've done stuff, right? And then I'm like doing whatever the task is for the day. If I'm filming something, working on a project or whatever, I'm already like starting getting into it, and he's still kind of getting rolling on the weekends. I don't blame him. I mean, he works hard during the week. Like I'm not faulting him for that. But then at the end of the day, especially during the summer when the daylight hours are longer, he's like, "Oh, the sun's still up and it's like 8:30 at night." And I'm like, "Dude, I've been up since 4:30. Like I am done. I am done. I do not want to still be doing whatever project it is you now want to start at 7:30 at night." I'm like, "No, I'm done." Like so we always usually get in a little bit of like we get along better during the winter, I guess you could say. During the summer, he wants to stay up later just because the sun's up later. And I'm like, no, because I still have to get up at the same time. I got to get the kid. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, no, my schedule doesn't change just because there's more daylight. I'm still going to be in bed at 8:05. Like, that's that's it. So, but yeah. So yeah, it's trying to get these projects done right now. We kind of have given ourselves an aggressive like finish date because when we started the project working on Frankie's room and making the pantry and all of that, we kind of were like, oh, well, we'll just like we'll be able to get it done. And we got it, typical, we got it like 97% of the way. And then we were like, oh, something else came up that we had to take care of. So that took some resources, it took time and money. So we like kind of put a pause on it. And then then you're getting into winter, and then it was like, oh, there was just other stuff going on. You've got the holidays, you've got stuff like that. So we just, again, we kind of put a pin in it. So now we're like, okay, the last frost has happened. Knock on wood. We think we're done with that, with the rain and all of that for the most part. So although we are supposed to get rain Monday, Tuesday, but I don't think it's going to be like, I think it's going to be not a lot. I think it's just like it rained. So we have to just finish siding on the back end where we kind of stopped and like we're framing in a window. So we got the window in, but we still have to put the framing or the siding rather around it. And his office, which is also like his office and closet, I painted half of it, but he was like, oh, I'm going to texture that other side later. Because he was going to add that window in, and he just hadn't done it yet. And he was adding in a door and he hadn't done it yet. Well, he's done those two things now. So now he's like, well, now I can go ahead and mud the rest of it and we can paint it. So just kind of like finishing all these little things that kind of none of them are like projects that are going to take forever. They're just time consuming and money consuming. So now we're at the point where like, okay, there's a lot of this we can do ourselves. So we're doing as much of it as we can ourselves. There's a couple things that we have to hire somebody to help us with. But we had to fix that drain in the shower that was a problem. So we just now have to put that bathroom back together. Like I'm literally right now, I can see my bathtub in my hallway up against the wall. Because they were going to move it this week, but then Mike and Will were going to do that this week, but that ended up not being able to work out. So I still have a bathtub in the hallway, but that's okay because I think in the next 2 weeks, that whole bathroom, hopefully, knock on wood again, will be completed. Like the new shower thing will be put in, the tub will be back in place, all of that. Like I said, I do not like living in chaos. I don't like having stuff where it doesn't belong and things being disrupted. It makes me feel very anxious when my house is in disarray. it like legitimately gives me anxiety. Like it legitimately gives me anxiety. So it gets tricky for me sometimes with that because I do get a little like OCD. So there's certain things that like even when we go somewhere, Mike knows that when we get to the hotel room when we're on vacation, he literally will come in, put his bags down, and just sit on the bed and wait while I spin around the room. Just like I have to like get settled in to a certain point before we can go downstairs and eat or what, like I have to. Like my brain just I will literally like have a meltdown if I don't. And he's gotten to the point now where he understands that and he just like waits for my meltdown, waits for me to like spin around and like get my bearings in the room and like figure out where everything is and like it's a weird thing that I do, but I totally do it everywhere we go. I have to like get situated and get things laid out a certain way and I just yeah, that's just how I roll. But so what's the next big project, Tim? Yeah, so that's it. We did the water heater. Where I'm still like just really trying to simplify some things around here. We've got they're doing a big because here we had trimmed all the trees. We have some really large trees on the property, and like probably about 2 years ago, we trimmed all of them, and a lot of them have kind of grown back, and then a lot of them drop a lot of leaves. So, and Frankie and Mike had raked up bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of leaves, and they composted tons of leaves. But there's still some more that like areas that need to be like raked out after the rain and the weather and fall and all that. So we're having some guys come to help us with that to kind of get some of those areas kind of more evened out and just kind of cleaning up the bigger plants, I guess you could say. Not like full on tree trimming, but just kind of like cleaning up some of the landscape part. Um, and finishing that siding and the rest of the little mudroom section. We never finished that. So we still have to finish that section. But other than that, we've set an aggressive date to get it all done because there's a lot of hours, like man hours of work involved in the things that we have on this list. So the goal is to get them done by the time I leave to go to Shoot Dang Fest. That's the goal. So it's a very ambitious, aggressive goal, I think. But I think we can do it. The only other problem with that is like, how like when you have a time frame for something that you want to get stuff done, and then you're like, oh my God, there's this happening and this happening and this happening too. So there's a little bit of that going on. Like we've had a couple things where like, well, we already had this scheduled or already had this planned or this didn't go the way we planned. And so like Mike did his big plant sale last weekend. We did a big like yard sale. He had gone through some of his tools, sold some of those. We sold just like, housewares and things that like we're like, I can only use this giant thing. I don't use this kitchen gadget, whatever, right? So, which is good because we made a few $100, which was nice. And I took basically everything else. I just took to the donation center up here. And I mean, that's good too. So, and I feel like I could probably do that once I finish kind of cleaning the rest of the cupboards out. I feel like I could probably make a couple more trips up there. I'm not going to do another yard sale just because that's like a whole day of like sitting there, like, especially when you live in a little bit more of a rural area, you're not going to get the foot traffic that you get in some areas. So, but thank God, I mean, Facebook was great for advertising that and getting some bodies here. But I think once we kind of get that all squared away and I've got the house kind of situated the way I want, I'll feel so much better about leaving to go to Shoot Dang Fest and coming home to the house being like, nice and put together. And, I won't be stressed that like, oh, I'm going to come home to like half projects still, if that makes sense. So lots of filming of all these projects, of course, is going to be going on. And We cleaned out a bunch of stuff that, like materials and stuff that the previous owner had left here that, like, I think I've talked about that before too, where we had repurposed. We love repurposing stuff. We'd repurposed everything that we could, and there was still a lot that we were like, we're never gonna, we don't have any projects that this is gonna work for. So we just finally got to the point where we were like, we need somebody to haul some of these random things away that we've been trying to use that we just can't. So I think once we kind of we got most of it out. There's just a little bit more that I need to get gone. Like some weird wood scraps that were left behind that almost look like they were part of a bed frame. I'm not sure, but they were kind of tucked back behind the shed this whole time, and we were like, we kept thinking like, oh, we'll use this for something, and we did reuse a lot of it. Like we built the whole chicken brooder was out of repurposed stuff that was left on the property. There was a lot of the siding on Frankie's Playhouse was all repurposed from those scraps, including the rocks that were left there. There's been a lot of things like that that we've used that repurposed wood for, little projects here and there. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things. So we all have our meltdowns. That's right, Alex. Oh, good. I'm glad you're staying safe. Busy out there, but under control, Jesse. That's good. That's good. To come to the Derby, like Kentucky Derby, I don't know, man. We have, out here we have the Del Mar horse races, and I've gone to those a couple times. Um, it's just, I don't know, the horse racing, it's kind of fun to go. It's just not totally my jam, I guess. I guess I feel more at home at a rodeo than I do at like a horse race event. It's a little, maybe it's not like that down there, but up here it's a little more, it's like a weird mix between like Del Mar, like kind of snooty, uppity, and uh, laid back beach people. It's a weird combination at the horse track up here. Um, they do make a very good Bloody Mary at the horse track. I will say, I approve, and I'm picky about my Bloody Marys because I make a really good Bloody Mary. So when I go somewhere and get a Bloody Mary and it's not good, I'm like, this is not good. I do not approve. So they do a decent one up there, or at least they did. I haven't been there in a few years, so you know. Yeah, the problem is a lot of it was like partially painted and treated Gunga Din. He's saying as long as it's not painted or treated, you could burn it in the wood stove. Some of it was like you couldn't. It was painted. It had nails in it, like weird. Like it was all just weird. So we had used what we could, and the rest of it was literally just weird stuff and a lot of like rocks and old cans, like bins, like can bins that she had left. And so we were just kind of cleaning a lot of that out. And we had done that over time, kind of cleaning some of the stuff that was left here. Um, and like looking back, that was dumb of us to just be like, oh yeah, just leave everything. But that was kind of the thing. Her thing was, if you want my house, you take it the way it is, kind of thing. You know what I mean? We kind of took some convincing to get her to like agree to, even though she had the house on the market, it was almost like she's playing hard to get, which is fine. I get it. But we should have, being a little more savvy now, I would maybe be like, nope, you get that hauled out of here first. And there were some things that we did have her haul out. Like there was an old hot tub, like shell that was still like leaned up against one side, and a couple other weird things that we were like, this has to go. Like these, like we're okay with this, but it was like more, I think, that got left in those piles. But it's cool. It is what it is. Like we did use a lot of it, so I can't be mad at it. At least it got like repurposed, but the rest of it was like, no, it's got to go. You know. So Bloody Marys are your breakfast drink, Gunga Din? Yeah, I usually prefer a good Bloody Mary if on the rare occasion that I go to a brunch, which I hardly ever do. Only time I ever really do is if my mom wants to go meet. She always wants to go to brunch. I don't like eating that early in the day. Um, I generally eat like one meal a day, and so I don't want to eat, at 11 o'clock or whatever. But if I do, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have Bloody Mary then, 'cause this whole, that's it's pretty good. I rather that than, I mean, I don't mind a mimosa. I'm not gonna get mad at a mimosa, but I will say that vodka treats me better than champagne does most of the time. So champagne can be a nasty little girl. Oh, the goats. So they're 3 weeks old today. Um, and poor mama. So you know how like after a goat kids or after any animal gives birth, except for humans, we don't have this, which is such a shame. They get that real indented side and they just start eating like crazy, right? And it's like, no, seems like no matter how much food I give her, she's always still hungry. And because she's making all that milk. Well, these kids are really aggressive on her teeth, really aggressive. And I noticed a couple days ago when I went out there to feed in the morning, she was like kind of acting pissy with them. Like she didn't want them. They were going up trying to milk and she kept like moving her leg, right? Like not letting them nurse. And I was like, okay. So I watched her for a few minutes and I thought, well, okay, maybe it's just because she's eating and they're bugging her, like they're getting. So then I was looking and I looked down at her teeth and I was like, no wonder. They had like gnawed her teeth to the point that, and they're only 3 weeks old. Like it's too soon to wean them, right? So they had like gnawed her teeth to the point that they were like, I finally had to like grab her and just like feel it. They were completely cracked. Um, and they weren't like infected or anything like that, but it was just very chapped and looked like they had been chewed on, you know? So yeah, so I balmed her up. I've been balming her up a couple times a day for the last couple days to try to help, but she doesn't like me putting the balm on her. So that's a fight, every day. But I mean, she's letting them nurse because I mean, they're healthy. They're running around. I see them nursing, but she lets them do it for like short bursts at a time. And then she's like, that hurts. So I get it. But I keep telling her, I was like, Mommy, you gotta let them nurse. Gotta let them nurse. Like you can't just kick them out. They gotta do their thing. So I just gotta try to keep that up. If she gets more aggressive with them because her nipples are sore, I'm gonna have to start hand milking her and then bottle feeding them, which I really don't want to do. So I'm hoping that just lathering her up, and it did help even just after the first application when I went and checked on her. Well, I guess that was in the evening. When I checked on her in the morning, it was noticeably, visibly better already. So it's helping. But I get it. I think they're just not being very gentle. They're both just very aggressive eaters. Like when you literally, I can see them chewing on her and not just like sucking, but like gnawing on her. They're like little mako sharks latched onto her teeth. So I feel bad for her. I do. She got a couple of biters. She really did. So that's got to be uncomfortable. I got to feel for the girl. But, I'm like, I'm like, but you guys still gotta do this, mama. Like you can't tap out 3 weeks in. Sorry. That's too soon. And I mean, she's got her grain and her hay and they're nibbling, more so on the hay than the grains so far, but they're doing their thing. So, so far so good, right? Hi, Theo. Hello from the Netherlands. Right? That's true. I could put like nipple covers on her bag. I don't know. I think she'd probably get mad at that too, but it's not a bad idea. She's very cranky right now, and I don't blame her. She's looking at me like this is your fault. Like it's my fault, which it kind of is because I mean I did have her with my buck, but still, you know. Yeah, that's what I've been using as bag balm on her and just bombing up her teeth and just rub her down real good. And she doesn't like that either. She starts trying to kick and get mad, and I'm like, and run away from me. I thought she was gonna break her dang leg trying to run away from me this morning when I was doing it on her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like calm down, girl. But and the kids are doing great. They really are. I mean, they're hopping, running around. They're super cute. The girl is really skittish, which is weird. The boy will come right up to me, super loving. And now keep in mind, I've been in there at least twice a day, minimum twice a day, every day since the day they were born. And most days I'm in there more often than that because kids are cute, right? So all of a sudden, in the last like 3 or 4 days, she's been super skittish of me, like running away from me, doesn't want me to pet her. But like it once I'm in there for a while, she'll come and jump on my back and stuff and play. But she just doesn't want to be loved on. So I picked her up, I grabbed her today and just checked her over really good because I was like, you're acting like weird, but I think it's just her personality. She's just evasive, she's aloof. So Neil, what happened to Neil Diamond? So my buck boar goat, which is the father of the two kids that are out there right now with Caroline, he went to greener pastures. I found somebody they're just starting up their little farm. They live like 2 hours away, and he was going to be in the area, and he saw the picture of Neil that I had posted, and he was like, oh my God, he's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so he purchased him. Um, so he's living his best life, with all his girlfriends now out on another farm. So it's good stuff. You think the horns are a little close on Neil? Are you talking about? I'm not sure what horns you're referring to. Neil did have horns, but Caroline doesn't. So I should say Neil still has horns. He just doesn't have them here. So, and then of course, the little boy. So Frankie named them Little Ann and Old Dan, like where the red fern grows, right? Because she was reading that in school when they were born. So Old Dan is an old hound dog. And I know this is what they do. He's already trying to, jump on his sister, and his little cojones are already like, so I'm like, dang, I need to, which is a little early to band him still, just a tad. It's getting close though. So I need to, he's like, well, no, I guess he's right around. Yeah. So I got to figure out I need to decide like this week, I think, if I'm going to do that. But my friend borrowed my bander tool like a year ago, and I haven't gotten it back. So I need to message her and be like, hey, I need my bander back. I got all my rubber bands. I just need the tool to do it. So I don't know. I did make some, not with our goat meat, but with the gal that I actually got Neil from. She had some that she had processed out. So I had made like a traditional, semi-traditional, like kind of African stew, and it was actually really good. Um, I mean, there's nothing wrong with goat meat; like it's good. Mike isn't as wild about it. And it's funny because like there's certain things too, certain kinds of meat. Like I've made quail a couple different ways now, and there's some ways that I like it and some ways that I don't. Same thing with venison. There's some ways that I like venison, and there's some ways that I don't like it. I guess you could say the same for like anything, but like there's the traditional, kind of like the more traditional ways, I guess, of eating it. I don't always like as some of the more non-traditional ways, maybe is a way to say it. So yeah. So then this weekend too is going to be kind of weird because tomorrow we're actually doing Frankie's birthday party. Frankie's birthday was on St. Patrick's Day on the 17th, but we always kind of wait and do it a little bit later in March because generally the weather isn't very good like the weekend around her birthday. However, this year it was, but you never know. It's a total crapshoot. So it almost always rains on her birthday. It's just a thing. So she is, I don't know, like she's 12 now. So she's got, her friends from school coming. She's got our friends, kids that she's friends with that are coming. And The weather's gonna be perfect. So it's gonna be a nice pool party. I'm doing my corned pork shoulder. Yes, you heard that right. If you've never done that before, it's amazing. I highly recommend it. I've done it at least once, I think twice now, with a shoulder, and oh my god, it's so good. Like people gobble it up. It's like amazing. Um, and then do the traditional like St. Patrick's Day fare, the corned beef, cabbage, carrots, potatoes, that whole thing. So I'm gonna prep all that when I finish on here with you guys for tomorrow. So I'm gonna have that all ready for everybody to eat. And which basically means Saturday is just a day by the pool, hanging out, living life, enjoying the party, enjoying her birthday. Um, and kind of Mike's a little bit too, because Mike's birthday is on Tuesday. So he wants me to grill him. Well, he's gonna grill the steaks, but I have to go get the steaks from our local up here. Grab a couple of steaks and marinate them for him, and then he'll grill them when he gets home from work. And yeah, just yummy, yummy. So that's the plan. So Tuesday, evening will be nice and mellow, and then Saturday is just going to be like, crazy day, and then Sunday back to working on projects. So have to be careful I don't drink too much on Saturday by the pool with everybody, because Sunday is going to be like work, work, work. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just gotta remember to drink water, then not too many beers. So yeah, it was 90 in Poway today, Toby. Yeah. Yeah, last week it was like, I know, it's crazy. Today was like, I don't know. I didn't really officially look. It felt like it was close to 90 here in Ramona. It was probably similar. But this time of year is like, you never know. It's either cold and rainy or it's 85 degrees and sunny. And it can shift from one day to the next when you're transitioning from winter into spring. It's a weird, like right now it's supposed to rain, like I said, Monday, Tuesday, and it's supposed to be gorgeous Saturday and Sunday, and then it'll rain and then it'll go back to being hot again. There's no in between at that point. It just goes, and then sometimes we get, I call it like hurricane weather, where we get like that. It doesn't happen super, super often, but usually like once a year, we get like the thunderstorm with the humidity and the hot rain. Like we get that like once a year, once every other year. And it's always kind of a hoot because the sky turns that funny color. It's kind of crazy. 75 in Vista, you're lucky. Although I like it warm. I don't get mad at it when it's hot. I like it. Everybody else complains around here, and I'm like the other night, Mike was like, he had the doors open, he had the fan going, and he's sitting here in his chonies, and I was like, I think I had on like shorts and a tank top, and this was in the evening, and we're sitting on the couch. We just finished dinner and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, he's like, oh, it's so hot, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It's perfect right now. Like I don't need a blanket. I don't have to be bundled up. Like this is perfect. Like it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's like perfect. And he's like, no, it's hot. He always gets hot and I'm always cold. So, you know. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Toby. Exactly. Oh, he's talking about San Diego County. Yeah. May 3 years ago. Venison meatloaf with brown sugar and mustard coating. Awesome. That does sound pretty good. I do enjoy a good meatloaf. Um, I would not be mad at that. I would eat. I would eat that. When I was pregnant with Frankie, I ate a lot of meatloaf. I ate a lot of meatloaf. I think Mike was horrified at the amount of meatloaf and potatoes that I craved when I was pregnant with her. I think he was terrified. But yeah, I did. Meatloaf, man, that was my jam. Oh, and I craved like sushi really bad when I was pregnant too, but they tell you shouldn't eat it. I still did. 'Cause I'm a rebel. But yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Um, oh, I bet. I bet. Especially depending on which parts you ground up too. I have our friend Will. Frankie, sometimes when she spends the night there, he'll make pasta with venison meatballs or just venison meat sauce. And he'll do like lasagna with venison because he likes to go hunting and all that. So he gets, he makes the sausage, the summer sausage stuff and all that. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Do we get our hundred bucks back from Will? So the boys were trying to pull a fast one on us. So that's why I asked him the date on the $100 bill. So for those of you who don't watch the video that we posted this week, um, he we were pulling out the tub and Will's like dibs, 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 and he like pulls out $100 bill, and Jen and I were standing there filming and talking, and we were like, oh my god, no way. What else is back there? Like, what? Are you serious? Like, and he was like, yeah, dude, it was just laying right there when I pulled that piece of the wall out. And I was like, that that was like, you know, a little crisp looking for being back behind the wall for that long. Just a little bit. Um, and then I was like, what's the date on that bill? And he's like, oh, and he got a little flustered and he's like, oh, 2017. And then and I'm like, well, we bought the house in 2015 and I know we didn't remodel the tub. So I was like, good one, guys. But yeah, but it was fun. But he had me going for a minute until I saw how crisp that $100 bill was. Then I was like, it doesn't seem right. You did, Pole Barn. You could feel free to, take care of stuff like that. I know. Let Hoffa rest in peace, right? I'm telling you. I know it. I know it. My goodness. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I really am. I've, got a little bit of just kind of straightening up to do in here. But I think all our friends know that we're in the middle of like all these stupid projects. So the house is in a lot of disarray, I would say, is fair at this point. And I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better. But it's clean. It's just there's stuff and tools and so just a little bit, but only for a second. Jen would have gone a lot longer believing it if I hadn't have been like, what's the date on it? When he said 2017, I was like, that's not possible. Like, that's not possible. So, but Jen didn't totally catch on right away because she didn't know. She wasn't thinking like, oh wait, they bought the house in 2015. So, but yeah, grab yourself a paintbrush, Mystic, and you feel free to come out here and help. But I don't mind a good joke like that. It was kind of funny, But it will be. I'm looking forward to that. I like that feeling of accomplishment when you finish something. And then I had to get my 2 hamsters. So I keep saying hamsters. We have these 2 birds 2 chickens that are always together, are always annoying. They look identical. And they're kind of jerks, but they're good layers. So I haven't turned them into soup yet. But they started flying over the fence and into the pool area and roosting on the smaller fence that leads from the patio to the pool. And that is not acceptable. So I grabbed them each this morning and clipped a wing. So now we'll see if that keeps them out. We'll see. So hopefully, fingers crossed, because I'm tired of catching them every morning and shooing them back in, and then they've left a mess. They've dug up all the wood chips, and they're like pooping on the sidewalk. And I'm like, this is not your area, kids. This is why we built the 6 foot tall fence. You're not supposed to come over the 6 foot tall fence, but they they're just, you know, every once in a while you get a chicken that really figures out how to fly and can do it really well. And I've got a couple of them in this group right now that one of them, I got one Americana that roosts up in the tree, like high up in the tree, uh, in front of the coop. I can't believe that an owl hasn't gotten it, especially during the winter, because it just, there's no leaves on the tree in the winter. I'm like, what are you doing up there freezing to death? Doesn't matter the weather. That tree, that bird will sit up in that tree and sleep in it. Doesn't matter. Um, and the other ones were sleeping on top of the coop. There's a couple of them. This one hatch group that just I every night when I first introduced them to the coop after I let them out, and they still didn't figure out after sleeping in the coop for so long that that was bedtime and that was their spot. Every night I'd come out with a flashlight and I'd put them back in, right? I finally just gave up and I was like, you know what? Carpe diem, girls. Like, roll the dice. It's going to be what it's going to be. Que sera, sera. If an owl gets you or a creature gets you, I got to say at this point, it's on you. I've tried. They just are rebellious. And then climbing all the way up the tree, I can't get the one out of the tree. Like, you're on your own. I mean, it was like 12 feet up in the air. I'm like, you're on your own. What do you think? You're a peacock? I don't understand. So, and then I've got a couple of my Americanas that will they'll hop slash fly over the fence into the pig pen, which I currently have the sheep in right now because there's no more pigs. But they'll fly into there and hang out with the sheep. And I'm like, you guys are weird, dude. And they just do what they want. They hop in and out. And it's like, we're talking again, like a 6 foot tall fence, and they just fly right over and fly right over. And you get one of those, every once in a while, you get a chicken that figures out, like, hey, I can kind of fly. And they'll just take off and fly a little bit. It's just the darndest thing, you know? So, I don't know. Luther, Michigan. Good evening, Joe, where the real men are. Sheep are nervous and dueling banjos are heard all day. I love it. I love it. Oh well, Joe, we can't define, of course, what a woman is any longer. So there's that. Oh, right on. Right on. My goodness. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with some of the comments here. I got a little lost. It happens sometimes. Well, I guess Mike's not going to make it to the live tonight. He's been a little busy at work, so he may not. And he didn't text me, so yeah, I guess not. I guess he's not coming. So it is what it is. Ditto, Joe. Ditto, Joe. I feel that. So I am going to go for the rest of Friday evening and straighten up the house a little bit, get some things ready for the party tomorrow, prep all the food, get that all going. And you don't need Mike? Oh, good. Good thing, because he's not here. That's the trouble with a wireless mic. You never find him when you need him. It's a shame. Anyway, so thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight for a little while. I appreciate you. New videos post every Sunday and every Wednesday, and we go live every Friday, or at least I do, with my imaginary friend Mike. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye.